I was gifted a custom Shrek calendar for 2021 by my brother. This is January. Okay, hi, welcome. If you haven't been here before, my name is Alex, and if you have been here before, thank you for coming back. So today I want to talk about how I've changed in 2020 and what my goals are for 2021. I'd like to give an honest and realistic outline of both the good and the bad things that happened to me in 2020, from a personal development perspective, mental health perspective, that sort of thing. And I'm hoping that this is helpful for other people. I do think it's important to reflect on the time we've had, especially in a year like 2020, and then following that, plan appropriate goals to move forward and hopefully past what we've been dealing with. So just to summarize what I'm about to talk about in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the things that happened to me in 2020, how they changed me, and I guess my goals moving forward. So let's get into it. First things first, my 2020. Well, of course, we have the elephant in the room is obviously the pandemic, and it is still occurring. It was the start of a completely different lifestyle for a lot of us. Obviously, the pandemic was hard for a number of reasons. To name a few that affected me, working from home was very difficult. I very easily fall out of routines. Do I even have routines? Not really. Obviously, socializing has been different. And then with the pandemic itself, it's been just terrible to hear about everything that's happening in the world. We are fortunate enough in Australia to have not been hit too hard, but obviously seeing what's happening in the world still takes a toll. I mean, it's just, the world is different now. 2020 was also a very politically important time. Of course, we had the Black Lives Matter movement become quite predominant, especially in the middle of the year. A lot of protesting and just a lot of political activism, which was really great. That is something that impacted me a lot, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in the next section. Thirdly, another component of my 2020 was that I underwent a pretty big life change. I've spent about the past 5 years of my life studying science full-time. I went through an undergraduate degree and then honours and then started my PhD. And last year I decided to go part-time in my PhD, which was pretty huge, especially because in my area, in my field, that's not really something you do. People definitely judge you for it, put it that way. And the last thing is that I started YouTube as a part-time job, I guess, even though I'm not getting paid for it. Hopefully I will eventually, and focusing more on my social media presence. That's kind of been the year for me and the main things that have affected me. So next I want to talk about how I changed as a result of 2020. So with the pandemic, I mean, it definitely caused a number of aspects of my life to be stripped back, stripped away. The consistency of certain activities was stripped away. The diversity of things that filled my time was stripped away. And it exposed where I'm really at mentally and just in life. I took a lot of time to reflect on that. I acknowledged that at the start of the pandemic, the way I was feeling was in fact burnout that I'd been suffering with for about a year, that I hadn't really acknowledged. I just kind of thought I was a bit depressed. And I mean that too, but as a result of stripping things away, a couple of things happened. My exercise habits went down the drain. I barely exercised in 2020 at all. Movement was very hard for me. Motivation to just look after myself was very difficult. I also have a bit of a hunchback now, I'm not gonna lie. I am working on trying to sit up straight, but it's very hard. Next, I would say my social habits are very different. I am already an introvert, so spending time at home and not with others is very easy for me. But even more so, if I'm not forced to go to things, if I'm not invited to go to things, I will not make any effort really to do anything socially. So, I mean, it's definitely been an antisocial year, and I think there were pros and cons to that. The cons of that is obviously we as humans need to be social to feel a sense of belonging in the world, etc. But the pros of that is that I had a lot of alone time and just time with my family, and I think I could really use that time to just be reflective and understand myself better and just do a lot of soul searching. Post the initial surge of Black Lives Matter activism that was very prominent when all of the protesting was happening and all of that sort of thing. I have reflected on my methods of political activism and kind of what the best way to do that is for me. So for example, I used to be very, very loud on social media about like every social issue ever, which is not bad. If you do that, like people need to post about things so we see it. But I've found for me that the act of doing that and constantly reading that information and doing all that is incredibly draining. I feel very politically exhausted. Still feel passionate, but very exhausted. The best way I can show that I care about these issues, educate myself on these issues without burning myself out, is to read informative posts on social media that are well summarized, reflecting on my behavior and other people's behavior, and trying to be more open to real life discussions with people rather than being like, no, I don't even want to talk to you about it, you know. And yeah, other things like donating and signing petitions and all of that sort of thing is more sustainable for me. So now, as I said, I went part-time this year, and that was really pivotal in like my personal development as a human. Pre-pandemic and pre-going part-time, I felt kind of numb to the world and burnt out, because I was burnt out, and I kind of still am in regards to science. Now I definitely feel more like I am figuring it out. I'm realizing stuff, as Kylie Jenner would say, and I'm just like feeling more, even if it's feeling more sadness and sometimes it's happiness, but I'm just like, I can feel my emotions. Some other positive things you might know, if you found my channel, you've likely watched my acne confidence video. I have completely reworked the way that my mind works in terms of self-confidence. And yeah, as I said in that video, I'll link it. I don't wear foundation anymore. I don't feel ashamed of the way my face looks anymore, which was something that I really held onto for such a long time. So to finally truly be rid of that is great. I have hobbies now. Something that you might have experienced if you've studied very hard at uni or college for a long time is that all of your hobbies kind of fall away as you focus more and more on the thing that you're trying to achieve. And then once you realize you don't really like that thing anymore, you realize you have no other joy in your life. So I've been, you know, just rediscovering interests and hobbies and things that I like, and a lot of that is largely linked to self-expression and creativity and fashion and stuff. Yeah, I just feel like I've discovered myself more. I feel way more inspired by things. I feel inspired by the art that I see, the fashion that I see, like makeup that I see, like things actually make me go, oh, that's like so cool. And music as well. Before I was more of a judgmental person and I would just kind of like internally shut things down. I guess lastly, I am really enjoying doing YouTube. It's like it's a new creative outlet. It kind of combines different things that I like. I'm still trying to figure it out, like figure out why I'm here, like what exactly I'm doing, but like it's good. It's really good. It's nice to see that like there are some other people that are actually interested in what I have to say. Doing the social media work, like the Instagram and YouTube stuff has carried me through this year, because I have felt very weird about my science work and like what I'm doing with that and why I'm doing it. So it's been good to have a balance between things. Alright, so now let's talk about goals and goal setting. So I know a lot of people think that New Year's resolutions are stupid and you can't meet them and blah blah blah. But here's the thing. If you can't meet your New Year's resolution, it's because you made it too broad or too big. So why not start with specific and small goals? I write down all the things I achieved in the past year, and I'm like, oh, pat on the back, well done to me. You've got to make yourself feel good when you're making goals, right? And then I normally reflect on the goals that I set in the last year and how I achieved some and like how it all worked out. And then I take that and I use that to make my new goals. So my goals for 2021 are in this Slytherin book, because that is my house. A lot of this reflection I've been doing, planning I've been doing, etc. has been inspired by Rowena Tsai, who does amazing kind of like self-help content. She's very organized, she's very calm, she has a very good outlook on life, she's very inspiring, she's everything I want to be. So I have personal goals, and then I have my PhD work goals and my social media goals. I'm going to stick to personal goals and just talk about maybe 5 of them. So the first goal, and I want to say it's going to be the hardest, is to exercise every day. I know it's not original. How did I make it specific and achievable? Well, thank you for asking. My goal specifically is to do any amount of exercise every day that is at least 5 minutes. You might be thinking, Alex, exercising for 5 minutes a day is going to do nothing. And that's where you're wrong. Because yes, it might not do much for my physical health. However, it's about making a routine and getting up to do that exercise, even if it's for 5 minutes, is reinforcing that behavior in your brain. Another goal is, in the words of what I wrote down, go to therapy, bitch. I have gone to therapy in the past, but it definitely dropped off for me in 2020. This year, I'm doing therapy consistently. One more that is kind of combating my lack of willingness to have a routine is to start using Notion. I don't actually know that much about it, but I just know that organized people use it. And my brother, who is extremely organized, is going to help me set it up, and I'm going to then work on making it usable for me. All right, moving on to a couple of goals that are building on things that I already achieved in 2020. So this one is to up my style game, be my own style icon. I definitely in the past year have started being a lot more experimental with what I wear. And it's been really fun, and I would love to do that more. I feel like I have imposter syndrome to like wearing certain clothes. Like I feel like I can't wear it because I haven't worn it before. For example, this necklace, it's a spiky necklace, choker, you know, one of those. I had big old imposter syndrome to buy one of these necklaces because I was like, well, I'm not allowed to, because it's not like an Alex thing. But why is it not an Alex thing? If I want to wear it, I'm just going to wear it. So I'm just trying to be like, do the most and not worry about, I'm going to this event, so I need to tone it down and like wear this certain thing, or I'm going to this event so I can be myself and wear. I'm just trying to do the most within my means, you know. One last goal I'll say, which is actually not a personal development goal, it's a social media goal, and I'm putting it here to manifest to hit 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watched hours by August. I really would like to be able to apply to be monetized a year after I started. I need to earn money in my life to be able to like become an independent human one day that doesn't eternally live in my parents' house. Basically, I would like to start earning money off of the things that I am actually more passionate about. So subscribe, comment, engage. I hope this perhaps inspires you to sit down and reflect on your year, if you haven't already, your past year, and set some achievable goals and just think about how you've changed. I think it's really important to be reflective, reflect on your self-growth, and to always be aiming for self-growth, even if it's just tiny, small things. I hope you enjoyed. If you're still watching, thank you so much. I love and respect you. Yeah, my next video is going to be a bit of a fashion video because, you know, as I said, trying to be my own style icon. So that's all from me, and I will see you next time.